Hey, this is 9.4. We're going to jump into titles and labels, aka putting in words into your videos. This is an incredibly important one because adding in words can really help when it comes to engagement, explaining things, and of course, connecting with your audience. So by this, I'm going to jump into a new video. We'll just use the one I had last time. This is a girl explaining bookkeeping basics. Technically, this right here is her own title or label, also from Bench, her company. So right in here, we'll just go here to show you where to start. Inside of InShot, we have the text option. Click text and you have a bunch of different options here. We're gonna focus on just the text one. Here, you can very easily drag around the text box, click inside of it, and make it bigger. All right. But open a text box and start typing. So let's just say we are going to do accounting basics. Very easily, you can type that out. Cool thing to do is also to make it wider. You can just select here on the right or make it bigger by going there. I'm here on my computer, so things are a little bit janky, so I have to go some workarounds, but typically when you do this, you do this, not that. But you get these options here. Once you have a label, you want to move it around, keep it wherever. InShot is great because they help kind of auto tell you where the center is. You can see that little line down in the middle that you now know this is a centered graphic, text, etc. So these options here, if you want to change the text, you click on the left-hand side button and you can retype everything in there and you can see what you're typing. Counting basics. Then within text, we have a few other options. Typically, you can't see all of these options here on your phone, so I'll click through them. Of course, the next thing that's important is your colors. Your colors here have all sorts of different options. Text is the text color right here. So let's just say we want to make that light blue or add a gradient. All sorts of different options. We're going to stick to white for this one. Border is the border of the actual text right here. So let's add a small border. Let's make it black. And you can also dictate how thin or thick the borders will be. This is great for making text stand out beyond just this background, which I'll teach you in a moment, considered labels. You can make, let's say, take the labels off. You can now still easily see accounting basics, even if there's a white background and you're using white text. So that's a key thing to remember. The border can be super effective. Change colors and also change that right there. Let's stick to that. Shadow is another incredible way if you don't have a border, don't want to use one. This is hard to see against the white, so you can add a small and simple shadow to do that. So click a color, and now you can see a little bit better. We'll go put it up here so you can see the effects. When it comes to shadows, you want to pick a color. Let's just go with purple right there or blue. And first key thing is where the shadow will be behind the image. The X and the Y axis will help you do that by moving it to where you want it behind the image. Next is the blur. So if you want it purely crisp, just like the letters are, you go all the way to the left. To pure spatial blur, you go all the way to the right. You choose whatever works for you. Then lastly is the opacity of the shadows. So right here, it's completely not opaque, so you can see it very clearly, or you can go to the bottom and you can't see it at all now. So choose that, and say we wanted to clearly see it, and now it's almost like another set of letters behind it. We go all the way left, we can move it around, and that is the shadow. You can do the same thing now, and they make it a little bit different within a shadow and add a glow, which I think is pretty damn cool. You can add a pure glow to your text. Let's just choose pink so you can see it. So we have a traditional glow or a really big, wide glow. As you can see, this really makes these letters stand out. Choose the color, how big you want the glow, and boom, you are done. Again, two options here. This is a newer feature with InShot, which they're always adding. It's so sweet. So let's go there. Next, we're going to take off the glow, and we're going to show you the label. So this is the background behind if you want to make a traditional square box or rectangle, and right here. This is great and super simple by just choosing the color. If you wanted less box, like I mentioned earlier, you just edit here on the right. And they add a great feature where you can make them opaque. You can add borders, do different shapes they offer here, little dots. These make it super simple. I like sometimes mostly using the rounded edges square right here, or sometimes the ovals right here. On your app, sometimes you can even mess with the ovals and not the ovals, the rounded edges to really make them exactly how you want. So these are considered labels. And lastly, we're going to turn those off and go to opacity. So if you just wanted a very, very light title, you go to opacity and you go here. And now you can still watch your video and have that title.
This video is for you. Consider this your book.
Lastly, you want to put where you want that video, and just like the clips, you want to drag the trimming. You can cut it and split it right here, delete that. Or another cool thing, if you want all of your different layers, so this is what a layer is, say you duplicate it, I'll add a different layer right after it of the same thing, or you can copy it and it will stack it. This is if you want two things in the exact same positioning. Now I can edit this layer here and go right here. Sorry for the workaround, it's a little annoying, but we can add it now there. We can go to the text and change it. And second layer, let's make it less opaque because this one I want everyone to see it. Boom. All right. As you can see, we have it there. It pops up and it ends where we tell it to. So some of the key principles there that you want to make sure you know. Some of the cool considerations to always think about is making sure you can see your text. Seeing the text is pretty much why you're adding it. So make sure you look at the backgrounds. So like colors, the glows, the borders, that's what you really want to do. And then lastly, for all of these, is your font. So let's go here, my little mini workaround for the computer, and go back to text. We have over here the fonts that you can choose. They come with a ton of fonts, more than you're probably ever going to need. So let's go with one you can see, nice and thick and horrible. Probably won't want to use this one, but to each their own. So let's throw that here. Let's make sure you can see this. So let's go back and change the opacity. See what I'm doing. Now we're in fonts. You choose your fonts. Very easy. Some of the last ones is your text. You want to maybe move your text so that it is to the right, to the left, centered. You can now curve it, make it bigger, curve your text. Also, if you have multiple lines of text, so we have multiple lines, but right now it's all in one, right? So make sure you hit enter so you can do that. But also we can do, one second, let me do this for you. We can add, oh, what's happening? One moment, multiple lines. Oh, it's not working. Well, regardless, you can use multiple lines and you can use your line height here, or the width between the letters, as you can see them going that way. Also adding bold, italics, underline, or make sure they're all bold. These are just some of the basics. You can also animate your titles and have them moving. So now it's like a typewriter moving in all sorts of directions. Again, slow it down and speed it up. You can have it on the intro, the outro, or loop it so it's just happening the whole time. Something I don't use too often, but as you can see here, we can just toss that in and now make the text move in the time that you want it. Again, mess here with the timing, the timings of how much it moves, and there's all of these things that are automatically added. Plenty of options, but not too much to overwhelm you. All right, so that's what we're going to finish off here. Some key things and best practices I want to make sure you always remember is consistency. It's better if all of your text looks the same. So if you use this font, try and use that font. If you have text up here and then a smaller text down here, you want to make sure that those areas stay consistent through your video so people's eyes are always focused on the right thing and they don't start changing to different fonts like we have here. And then lastly, eyeline. People are watching your video. If you want people to be staring at your eyes or things down here, you want to make sure you add your text and your labels and your titles near where you want their eyesight to be going. Just a few tips there. We're going to continue on. Remember to keep things consistent, keep things visible, and keep things easy and clear. Clear is always better than clever, so don't overdo it when it comes to all the extra stuff we can do. All right, that's 10 minutes. I'm sorry for the length. Talk soon.